Good evening from New York. I'm Jacob Soboroff in for Chris Hayes. The nation's 250th birthday festivities have begun, but Donald Trump keeps trying to make them a celebration of Donald Trump. And so far, the American people are not obliging him. The 80-year-old president insists that 45,000 people, 45,000, were in this crowd right here for his speech on Wednesday night. A crowd that the Washington Post called smaller than some summer outdoor movie screenings. And many streamed out as Donald Trump was still talking. He even pleaded with people to show up to his next rally.
Then on July 4th, we will have the greatest show of all on the National Mall. Your favorite president will be speaking. So please show up. Because if we have two empty seats, you know what's going to happen? The fake news is going to say he didn't fill out the arena.
You heard him. Please show up. This is not how most Americans expected the nation's 250th birthday to look, presided over by a weak authoritarian who is aging and self-absorbed and pretty paranoid. He seems more focused on gaming the system than on governing altogether. And it brings to mind an earlier president, this guy, Richard Nixon. He was supposed to preside over America's bicentennial until his role in the Watergate scandal came out, paying a crew of plumbers to break into a Democratic campaign office and overseeing a White House cover-up. He fired Justice Department officials. He tried to shut down the investigation, but officials pushed back. So did the Supreme Court, and so did Congress. They learned that Nixon had been bugging the Oval Office, but he refused to hand over his recordings. He resigned in disgrace in 1974 as Congress was moving to impeach and remove him. If you have looked at Donald Trump's America and thought to yourself, man, it is worse than Watergate on a daily basis, turns out you're not really alone.
I'm actually fascinated by Nixon as a character in history. I think that his historical legacy is enjoying a bit of a renaissance, but I think deservedly so. As I joked with Robert backstage, if Watergate happened tomorrow, it would be like a 12-hour news story. Like, the idea that it would have taken down a presidency is crazy. And by the way, if you look at the story of how the deep state took down Richard Nixon, it's not all that different from what the same groups of people, the same institutions tried to do to Donald Trump in the first Trump administration. There is a parallel.
Applause. Applause. Watergate would be like a 12-hour news story. That's what he said. That is a pretty telling confession from Vice President J.D. Vance. So is complaining that the deep state and not constitutional safeguards took down Richard Nixon, though perhaps it is not surprising coming from J.D. Vance at all. This is a man who not only admitted to spreading racist lies about Haitian migrants on the campaign trail, but who said he needed to, quote, create stories to get the media's attention. You remember that? Now with his Nixon rehab, J.D. Vance is just saying out loud what Republicans under Trump have been suggesting for years. It is a lot easier to rule if you don't have to worry about getting in trouble for doing crimes. Today, the House Speaker, Mike Johnson, promised his colleagues that arrangement could continue as long as Democrats do not win in November.
If we were to lose the midterms, heaven forbid, these Democrats, y'all, impeachment's not even the big concern. They will turn every committee of Congress into an investigative body, and they'll go after the president's family, the cabinet, his donors and friends. Half of you in this room will be targeted. I run the protection program. I'll take care of you, okay? We're going to win. We're going to win the midterm.
Did you hear that? I run the protection program. It should be shocking, but Donald Trump has made that the new normal. And Donald Trump learned from the best.
But I learned a lot by watching Richard Nixon. Of course, there was one difference, one big difference. Number one, he may have been guilty, and number two, he had tapes all over the place. I wasn't guilty. I did nothing wrong, and there are no tapes. But I wish there were tapes in my case.
He said that in May of 2020, and a few weeks later, he was asking his defense secretary why soldiers could not shoot protesters. And a few months later, after that, he was encouraging his followers to march to the Capitol and try to overturn the election. But he did not succeed, at least that time. And that should remind us of the real significance of Watergate. It was not just Richard Nixon's corruption. It was the response of you guys, regular Americans, to the corruption, backed by broad public sentiment. Public officials built and reinforced safeguards that protected the American republic for nearly half a century. The bad news is the institutions that constrained or stood up to Richard Nixon, Congress, the Justice Department, the watchdog media, the Supreme Court, all of them are now under attack from Donald Trump or under his control. The good news is we all see it now. Even J.D. Vance and Mike Johnson. And in some sense, they are performing a public service, confirming that, like us, they know what they are getting away with. But given how most Americans remember Watergate, they might be overestimating just how long they can get away with it.